was in my childhood days. Oh Lord, many long years ago. Now
There
when the
gets to be a point where all of us
spirit
young Black women see
of
ourselves
my
definitively in that play
Savior,
because of where we are in life,
I was
what disappointments we've experienced
there,
in relationships or just in the
Lord
world, navigating
Jesus.
our skin and our body politic.
We
Oh,
had no idea. No, it wasn't because it was happening under our feet. So you don't know.
magnificent.
You don't know that you're
Oh
making history when you're
Lord,
making
I
history. You're doing your
see
work. You got to do what you got to do.
Serenity.
And
Yes.
then you become it. Then somebody says later on in your life, "Oh, you were trailblazing." It's like, "Oh, were we?"
Oh, that
See,
was
that's the problem. When you ask my
good.
generation of Black women writers
I'm
about
gonna
Ntozake, we can preach about her because she was our girl. She was our, the Black men of a certain generation. August Wilson is their guy. And anything you say about
every
August
Sunday
Wilson, they're going to
morning.
just be right on it. And a lot of us are like that about Ntozake. Like,
Hello,
don't you
the
even try to
family
talk about her because
bird
she's coming from a place that if you don't
went
get it,
to
leave it alone
bed.
because it's liberating and it's
Country
it's
wagon.
it's almost indescribable
Oh, would
what it was that she was
feel,
able to
oh,
do.
Lord, oh, would feel. Well, we start on a journey
So, could you first introduce
moving
who you
over
are, please?
My name is Aku Kidogo. I am a performer, director, choreographer, cultural preservationist, archivist.
I am Pearl Clegg. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I am the distinguished artist in residence at the Alliance Theater.
I'm Dominique Mariso, and I am a playwright, a television writer, actress, poet, and activist.
Mother, grandmother, traveler, daughter, sister.
I am in the tradition. I write in the tradition of many, many Black women that come before me, Ntozake Shange being definitely one of them.
Woman in the world.
Teacher,
Us,
mentor.
me, we, all.
I was introduced to her in high school when I was taking drama classes.
I knew about her because we're of the same generation. I think we're the same age. She's passed away now, but I think we were within a year or so of each other. So I was aware of her.
We were in a dance class and we just kept kind of resonating with each other. And she had come across to New York with her friend and muse Paula Moss. I was in the Colored Girls realm before Colored Girls became Colored Girls.
And then it came when Walter Dallas was at the Alliance Theater working a long time ago, and he brought it to the Alliance Theater. He directed it there on the main stage, and this was way back when. And the audience at the Alliance Theater, which at that point was almost exclusively upper income white people, they were not ready for colored girls at all. I mean, they were literally aghast at what was being said on the main stage at the Alliance Theater. And there were so many people walking out during the show. I've never seen that happen before.
And her words talking about women. So it was really, we are the children of Sonia Sanchez. We are the children of Jane Cortez. We are the children of Nikki Giovanni. We are their children. And here we come to New York and we're building on what they had been putting out there.
Well, I think Ntozake did something that has unparalleled, which is she created a new genre. I mean, she created the choreo poem.
Well, they coined a term, the choreo poem, about our work because it really was, we were dancing her words.
I just lived in the poetry of her language. I was a spoken word artist when I was in like toward the end of my college years, and I just deeply connected to the poetry. And coming from poetry, she broke that barrier for me because my entry point into writing plays was through writing a choreo poem. That was my very first play, was a choreo poem, and I wrote that in college. And she helped basically create the path for someone like me to find their way into the realm of playwriting, and have to never sacrifice the poetry of my language, the poetry and the way that I hear stories. It's always been embedded in me. And what she did was create the pathway for it and also to create the sustainability of it in our artistic continuum. Like that we've never backed up from it.
For colored girls was like, I want to write as a conscious Black woman about my experience. And I want to put that experience at the center of every single thing that I do. And it was almost like a pledge to myself to say, if you're going to call yourself a playwright, you have to be this honest. You have to be this willing to talk about the stuff that scares you. You know, you have to be this willing to talk truthfully about love, about what it looks like, about what it feels like, about your own failings, and about the yearning. I think that's the thing about this piece that always strikes me is the yearning that these women have to be free.
Electrifying. She was electrifying. And also her brilliance, her that intellect was unbelievable. And she was also again, she was culturally round. She knew her music, she knew her dancers, she knew her literature. It emanated out of her. And she knew people that you didn't know about.
Because that's what Ntozake did. She allowed us to see ourselves and to love ourselves fiercely, to just say, okay, damn it, that's us. And you can love it or not love it, but that's us.
To push that on people, and particularly artists, to be only write about joy, only curate Black joy, to me feels like you're trying to curate a very one-dimensional part of who we are. And that is just as harmful as the other side, which is only curating our pain, when in fact, we have joy and pain in the same body experience and the same community experience. And there has to be room for both. Because of that, I don't shy away from that in my work. And then Ntozake Shange, making space for my Black woman pain has liberated me. And so I find that I keep that liberation spirit in my work.
She also gave us a chance to be joyful, to feel like we could dance, you know, if we wanted to. We could give them much quick feet because we were dancing girls. We were beautiful women, and we were going to have full, complete lives. And some of it was going to be hard, but we were going to make it through, especially if we had a sister circle. And that's still true. I don't mean to start preaching. You know, I love this girl's work so much. It's like when you asked me to talk about Ntozake, I said, oh, you're going to be sorry. You asked me to talk about my girl. I miss her every day.
I hope like anyone who sees this, Black woman or not, just know that you love yourself, and then that's the story we're telling. The story about loving yourself and that coming of age story, that process.
People are now recognizing the hardships that Black women go through and how silenced we are and how it kind of feels like no one cares about what a Black woman goes through, and she goes through so much. So I feel like it means to just keep fighting, because you are important and you matter and you deserve to be heard and you deserve to be seen and you deserve to be loved.
And just being in a space with all Black women, I don't ever feel like there's underlying competition. It's just so loving, because I feel like we realize kind of what we've been through, but also understand that we don't completely realize what the other person's been through.
Hope, to me, feels like stories with new narratives. New narratives. One thing that I really love about this production is that there's not some basis of trauma, and everybody's gonna digest that trauma and be so, oh my gosh, I feel for you, I see you, versus, you know what, there's trauma in there, but there's some joy in there too.
I don't think that I feel understood very often, and there's specific people where I feel like there's no effort on my part to get what I'm saying across, or that I even need to say anything. And that feeling is so light and free. I doesn't feel like the constant weight of like translating that I think I feel a lot.
Being in a room of all Black women is the most life-giving thing that I completely forgot I thrive off of, and like the thing that kind of feeds my soul. And I feel so held when I'm with them.
Being a Black woman today equals a lot of resilience, a lot of the BS from the world that we have to deal with, but also finding moments of joy and of sisterhood. And as a Black woman, I've lacked sisterhood with Black sisters, and that's what this show has created for me. I now have girls I can go to who can do my hair late at night, and who can paint my nails, and who can talk shit with me, and who we can laugh, have fun, and I have a whole group of friends that I've never had before. So being a Black woman is empowering, it is celebrating myself, it is loving myself fully in a world that tells me to hate myself, but I am resilient anyway.